Hi, folks. Welcome to Striking the Mark. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't rebrand. Welcome to Hit the Mark with Harry and Mark. I'm your co-host, Mark, and this is my wonderful co-host, Harry.
Hello.
We are two numbskulls who love to
Mhm.
commune and converse about things we have no knowledge of.
Mhm, mhm.
hmm 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 hmm
Yeah,
hmm
I agree.
hmm
I am one of those
Fuck yeah.
numbskulls.
You know what? You're a sensitive skull. Okay,
Oh,
I'm the
okay.
numbskull. You're the mind that is attuned to the American zeitgeist.
Oh, okay.
Fuck yeah. Folks, it's been a while. It's mainly because we don't like you, but it's partly because, just life, school, work, because we don't like you. Uh, but you know what? We're here. We're queer.
Mhm. Yes, we are.
We're just here and we're ready to have fun.
Yep,
Yeah, we're here. We support the queers, and
absolutely.
our content is top tier. There we go.
There it is. We got
I knew
there.
I could fucking find a rhyme eventually. Harry,
Yes?
how was your week?
My week, um, not bad. Um, I one cool thing that
Oh,
Livy and I actually found out is so we bought a smart TV, probably like 3 years ago now when we moved in together. Um, and we never really had cable, right? We just got the TV and it has the YouTube app and it has Netflix. It has all the regular apps, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I connected the PlayStation to it so I can play my games and then we can watch, anime through Crunchyroll, Netflix, whatever, right? And so there's always this little tab that said live TV on it. And my thought process was like, well, I'm
Jesus
not paying
Christ.
for cable. There's nothing connected to it. It's literally just the power cord, right? So
Mhm.
I never suspected it to be working. I was like, okay. Randomly the other day, I was pressing the buttons and I hovered over the live TV tab. And when you hover over one of those tabs, like there's one for like my PlayStation, there's one for like cable if you have cable, and there's that live TV. So I hovered over it and something just popped up. And both Livy and I looked at each other and we looked at the TV like, what the fuck? And apparently our smart TV picks up live TV somewhere, somehow,
Basic cable.
basic cable. Yeah. But not as basic as you think. Maybe basic
Oh, they've
cable
got
now.
Telemundo?
I, dude, so we were flipping through it and they have your generic channels, right? Your channel 2, your channel 4, whatever. Um, and we skip through and there's some like there's a Bob Ross channel
Ooh.
where they showed nothing but Bob Ross. Um, yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty
Just
interesting.
making friends with little trees.
Exactly. So I don't know. That's just something that came up. We haven't looked at it since, but it's there if we want it. You know. So that's just pretty cool. If we're just for some reason maybe the internet is out and we're just like, what do we do? Oh wait, we have live TV.
Technology.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
so well, I don't know. There's that, but it's a cool discovery that we experienced, and it was nice. Other
I'm
than
so
that,
proud of you.
thanks. Other than that, since the weeks that we haven't been podcasting, we've gone to the movies. And
Mhm.
the best part is we've been going on Tuesdays, and we have been saving a lot of money. Um, and you over sent me money, which I will.
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't
you
pay
did.
you for one of those movies, and then I paid you for another one on time. I said I would,
Mm.
and I didn't. It's already bad enough that, fucking I'm loan sharkable.
I loved your comment, by the way. It took me a fucking second,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
holy shit, dude! As soon as it clicked in my head, I was laughing pretty hard. um, but yeah, great movies, and we paid maximum $6 a ticket with no fees. So great.
I
Um,
remember 10 years ago when that was like
uh,
when everyone was like, "Oh fuck, they're like $9 now. God damn it."
yeah,
And now it's like $13 for an adult,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I fucking hate it.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree. But I'm glad that some theaters still have the discounted prices. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it just especially I think what the pricing is really nice, but also the fees when you don't like go through Fandango and all that
Mhm.
has been fantastic. Just walking up being like, I want tickets. So like, all right, fucking 24 even. Like, oh, no
I
fees.
can't wait until like 20 years from now where it's like they don't advertise that and like people still have that, where there's that generation of people, me included, that like just love to text and we hate answering the phone. I can't wait until that like crippling anxiety like starts tenfold
Mm-hmm.
and just someone walks in by accident to a theater before the movie starts and someone asks them if they'd like to buy tickets and they don't even realize that you could do that. I can't wait until like 20 years from now when that's a thing.
Oh wow, yeah, that'd be interesting. It's gonna happen
Mhm.
at one point.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, I can buy tickets here? Like I don't have to buy them online? Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, what the ticket booths for? Like, oh
Yeah, fuck
shit,
yeah.
dude, I haven't seen. Well, actually, I think Century has. People still have. People are still in the ticket booth, but I know Brandon doesn't have anybody in the ticket booth anymore, ever.
Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart that like mine, nostalgia for people locked in a poorly ventilated area, sitting for several hours
Yeah.
and, you know, dealing with people spittling through perforated windows,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it has ceased to exist. This really is the decay of human society.
Yes, agreed. But that's been my week. How about yourself?
Harry,
Yeah.
it's been a lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I've been with this whole new job thing, I've been kind of
Yeah.
having to crunch a lot. So I like typically got off at like 4 or something. I actually started working out.
Oh,
This
good.
is going to be a finance and gym bro podcast now.
Fantastic.
I try to worm my way through finances, and you try to worm your way through workouts. Um, no, it's just light shit. I tend to do like a half break instead of a full break. I get
Okay.
off before my even harder working coworkers get off. So these fuckers, I have no idea why. I'm gonna go into a slight tangent. I have no idea why these people put in overtime. Like, I get the impression that this job that I have does that thing where it's like, oh yeah, you can technically work your own time, but like the workload that they give you, which is time sensitive, by the way, the work that they give you keeps you there at a specific amount of time. And the fact that you're interdependent on it with other people means that typically your group needs to leave around the same time. So that's kind of interesting
Yeah.
how they get you. I don't mind. They there's this really beautiful leasing company. They make us food. Thursdays they give us alcohol.
Ooh.
I thought drinking. My girlfriend's looking at me like, what? I forgot because I don't drink. Yeah, fucking. Apparently, it's not uncouth anymore to get fucking absolutely plastered at work. I cannot wait until one person just like loses their wife to divorce and the house, and they just start fucking like getting wrecked at work.
Yeah.
and someone's like, "Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this." Yeah. So that has been a little difficult because I've been dealing with a lot of homework too. So I
Mhm.
do like a 15-20 minute workout. I head home. I cry and I sleep for about 10 and a half minutes. And then I start some homework,
Yeah.
which, man, I've only been doing this for like technically a month and a half, but shit, it is not a joke.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Like, I like learning what I'm learning. Uh, the work is fine. It's just inputting shit. But man, I cannot afford to take it easy.
Mhm.
So I'm no doubt I'll once I get a little more leveled and comfortable,
Yeah.
which should be like in a week or two, I'll absolutely be able to like get into my regular schedule. But like with finals coming up and all this other stuff, man, crazy. Absolutely crazy. Um Only took me 10 years, but I got there. I'm I'm doing the college life.
Mm.
I'm actually painting. I'm
Okay.
sitting directly in front of a 1 in 72nd, no, 172 ratio sized Razor Crest from The
Oh.
Mandalorian. It's
Mm.
really nice. I applied the primer, and I've applied the first gunmetal gray surface on it. I'm going to put some masking tape on it to
Yeah.
mask some other parts, and then I'm going to apply a lighter silvery coat, and then I'll see if I can put on like a satin finish.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really good. It keeps me focused. I've got some more tools to clean out my airbrush. For anyone who doesn't know, if you don't take care of your fucking airbrush, um, every time you try to paint, you'll end up being stressed like a little bitch. I don't know that from experience. Um, but yeah, it's a nice hobby that I'm slowly but surely doing a lot more of because it's something I actually really like doing. So yeah, there's that. I've been watching cool movies with my best friend Harry.
Mm.
We'll get into those. Uh, yeah. Uh, I've just been honestly working, reading. I'm actually inching my way closer to finishing Game of Thrones.
Good.
I
Good.
got to the Purple Wedding.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So right after the Red Wedding, it's interesting how the sequencing works.
Mhm.
Um, so seasons 3 and 4, a lot of events are kind of moved around or spaced out.
Okay.
Um, the Red Wedding and the Purple Wedding are like right next to one another in events, like
Oh.
right the fuck next to one another. Oberyn,
Interesting.
I actually like way more in the show. Uh, they give him way more screen time. They make him way more valiant in not valiant, but like you got to admit, like Pedro Pascal has like this like natural charm that
Yes.
he gives the character. Um, I get the impression that because we both know how the character passes
Yeah.
and what his effect on the show does, he's simply a catalyst. Like
Mhm.
Tyrion knows that he's coming in. His brother is supposed to be there. The cripple.
Yeah.
Not the cripple. That's not fair. His brother who has like gout and he's reclined to like a chair. Um, but Oberyn comes, and Oberyn is like this famed warrior, this rapscallion. He goes around all over the world, and he was the one who wanted to, kill Tywin and all that. He was the hothead, and that beautiful scene in the cell when uh Oberyn comes to him and he's like, "Oh, uh, we were so disappointed when we found out you weren't a little monster. You're just a beautiful little boy." Like that's a moment of like empathy in the
Yeah.
show that I actually really like. In the book, it's in the beginning of when Tyrion and Oberyn meet, and it's kind of insulting.
Mhm.
It's more dismissive.
Okay.
Um, I think it's mainly because like I really just like how Oberyn is portrayed in the show.
Yeah.
Um, that he's I think a little more it's a little jarring because it's like he's Inigo Montoya, right? Like the
Mhm.
show makes him like Inigo Montoya, this charming. I keep saying I'll get to the point. It's interesting that in the book he's more of like a not a red herring, but like he's obviously there more to set up events and to be like a sense of anxiety for Tyrion.
Okay.
Because at the moment, we've had one whole scene with him, and that's when he's first introduced. Every other
Okay.
scene at the moment is either Tyrion wondering about the Red Viper of Dorne or seeing him at the wedding and no interaction, and that's about it. And I'm interested in seeing where they go with that. Shay is another character that I think is immensely more well done in the show. Shay is like uh mainly because it's through Tyrion's point of view, we can't really get that much insight into into what she wants, into how she really feels. But
Hmm.
she comes across as I think a little not one dimensional, but like her struggles or her life are all portrayed through Tyrion. Like, oh, I have to protect her. Oh, this will break her heart. Oh no, da, da. So we don't really get the chance to get to know her the way the show did, which I really, really, really appreciate. Um, but I still enjoy it. Again, the focus in the book is Tyrion. He's absolutely like one of the top three main characters. I think in terms of like narrative and perspective.
Hmm.
So of course it's like he's going to take front stage. Um,
Right.
but the chapter literally ends with him getting arrested. How it does at the end of the episode. Really good stuff. Oh, what else? What the fuck else?
Oh.
Oh, fuck yeah! I went to
Yes.
fucking New York.
Hmm.
Almost fucking forgot about
Almost.
that. Just kidding, baby. So my wonderful, um, my wonderful concubine. No, that's not true. My wonderful girlfriend. Uh, it's a compliment from me. I swear. Um, for my birthday, she got me tickets to go see Macbeth, and it's not just any Macbeth. It's Daniel Craig's Macbeth
Ooh.
off Broadway, on Broadway. I don't. So I saw these tickets where it's like, oh, he's going to be doing like a stage production of Macbeth. I was like, oh, baby, that's so cool. And she fucking gets me the tickets. I'm like, oh, that's even fucking cooler. So we go to New York. I meet my fucking cousin who I haven't seen, I think, in like 15 years,
Damn.
and he shows me some of the realer, I think, parts of New York. You know when when you go to San Francisco and you see everyone at like Pier 39.
Yes.
That's kind of like San Francisco's equivalent of New York. So
Okay.
we ended up doing Manhattan, which is beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Lower Manhattan, 6th Avenue and 45th, just below Central Park, which is gorgeous. And he doesn't dispute that, and I agree with him. Like it's Manhattan is like this beautiful, bustling creature of a city.
Hmm.
Um, but we ended up taking the transit or the metro all the way to Astoria, which is to the east and slightly to the north,
Okay.
and uh, it's it's in babe, that's in Queens, right? Yeah, Astoria in Queens. Yeah, so it's in one of the boroughs, and there's this beautiful, absolutely. We went to this park, right,
Yeah.
and uh, it's it's right next to this gigantic fucking bridge, the Triborough Bridge. It's a walking bridge,
Okay.
um, and it's AKA the Robert Kennedy Bridge. Jesus, my girlfriend is so fucking knowledgeable. Anyway, looking at it, it's like it's one of those scenes where it's like, oh shit, I'm in a fucking New York movie where like Tony Soprano's gonna fucking pop me in the back of the head or something. No, jokes said, it's absolutely gorgeous. I got to see like really, really beautiful non-Manhattan-y parts of New York, which I've always wanted to. Um, it makes me really fucking angry how fucking much Bay Area Rapid Transit fucking charges people.
Mm-hmm.
Harry, fucking Harry,
Yes.
you put your fucking card into the fucking uh, Metro card dispenser, right?
Yeah.
And you say, I want $20. And they're like,
Yeah.
okay, here's 20 fucking dollars. And
Cool.
you take that card
Yeah.
and you go to any New York Metro station
Okay.
and you put in your card and you can ride the fucking train anywhere.
Hmm.
You get out, and guess what? It doesn't keep track of fucking how far you traveled. Oh shit. I fucking accidentally dropped my phone 5 feet from the exit in
Yeah.
the terminal. Oh, let me just put my card in and spend $2 to get it. Oh, darn. Uh, that was amazing because I'm not wasting a shitload of money. And anywhere you go, it's $2 and fucking 75 cents
Yeah.
just to go in. You just fucking put your card in there. Oh, here's 275. You could fucking ride it to the top of the fucking metro transit system or to the bottom, however much. And they're like, okay, bye. And
Hmm.
then when you're like, oh shit, turns out I forgot my sanity at the very top of the transit system. Let me go back. Oh, here's just 275. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I've got like the aliens hand gesture thing going on from fucking the History Channel. It's but yeah, fucking anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, 40 blocks is two fucking dollars. Anyway, Macbeth was good. It
Yep.
had like this artsy in-house kind of vibe to it, where everyone's like, "Oh, we have to make it modern because we don't really have the budget, but we're gonna do lots of like smoke bullshit and we're gonna put a lot of blood in it." Yeah, Daniel
Okay.
Craig gets his groin cut open and bleeds to death. It's so good.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's great. But jokes aside, Daniel Craig is actually, at least for me, really enjoyable in it. He gets away from like the James Bond deep voice alluring kind of thing, and it really helps him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at the banquet scene when he sees Banquo, the man he killed to preserve his secret. It's so great. He has this just absurd reaction. It's so good, and it's so out of pocket. It's something that I didn't expect to see in someone who had played James Bond, right? Who's always like level-headed or suave or debonair. And
Right.
the woman who plays his wife, Lady Macbeth, is Ruth Negga, who absolutely kills it in Netflix's Passing. Um, really good book. Uh, Rebecca Hall directed this, and I think it's her first directorial debut. The actress in Iron Man 3, the one who gets killed,
Okay.
she directs it, and she does a
Oh.
phenomenal job. Tessa Thompson, yeah, Tessa Thompson and
Mm-hmm.
Ruth Negga are the leads, and they're absolutely phenomenal. Recommend that if you ever get the chance. She is wonderful in Macbeth. I
Okay.
was so impressed with both leads. I knew like I my man crush is Daniel Craig, so it's like, oh, I'm sure he'll do pretty good by virtue of like he could literally take a shit on the stage and just walk and charge people like $50 to go see that.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, it's performance art. But like I only went in knowing one movie, one genuine, like full all the way through movie of Ruth Nega's.
Uh-huh.
And like I was immediately impressed.
Mm.
I got to meet some of the cast.
Oh
They
yeah.
were nice. It was so good.
Dude,
But yeah, that was
big
the
house.
New York trip,
Oh.
and we got some best baklava I've ever had,
That's
and pizza.
baklava. Okay. I was gonna ask about the pizza.
Pizza's damn good. What they do is they fucking cook it
Yeah.
and they leave it, and then they put it back in the oven. So it has like this, like the dough feels, I think, a little crunchier,
Mm-hmm.
but it still just is so like it gives, right? You
Right.
bite into it, it doesn't like crush your teeth, or it doesn't like feel
Mm-hmm.
like thick, disgusting glue.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to a fucking bowling alley and you
Yeah.
bite into it, it's like they put cardboard in the dough and more cardboard and a little bit of bubble gum.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not in New York.
That's good.
Yeah. That is opposed, however, to fucking Chicago.
Chicago.
Chicago, Harry. So we had a
Chicago.
layover. Chicago. Chicago. So we had a layover at O'Hare.
Okay.
And keep in mind, I have been to Thailand and I have no, Thailand doesn't count. I've been to Cambodia, where one of their domestic airports was pretty underwhelming. And
Yeah.
I think O'Hare is worse than fucking Cambodia's. It is absolutely awful. And on top of that, right in my fucking face, they have their own pizza shop, which has that deep dish fucking Chicago style bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh man. I I'll accept deep dish if you fully acknowledge that it's just a savory pie. You just it's fine. It's fine. I'll have tomato pie. I'll have it. You
Yep.
want to put a little bit of cheese on there? Oh yeah, no, that sounds pretty art house. I like that. Maybe some oregano. Maybe put some a little bit of salt in your dough. That sounds really good. Toast it? Yeah, why not? Call it pizza. Go fuck yourself. You fuck.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But yeah, O'Hare was fucking awful. I'm glad I didn't go to the actual city. If the airport was any indication of the quality of the city. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I've just been doing school, work. I went on a nice little vacay with my girlfriend. We're gonna try going sometime again next year. Um,
So,
and I've been trying to prevent myself by going insane by doing some of my hobbies more often.
it's good.
Fuck yeah, Harry.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about?
I want to talk about this article that Livy just sent me. Just hear me out, all right?
Okay.
Joseph Anthony McKinnon. I don't know if I should be saying names, but I'm sure people can find this out. 60 died of a heart attack while allegedly burying the body of his dead girlfriend, authorities say.
Wow.
Deputies found his body on May 7th after his neighbors called to report an unconscious man in the backyard of the South Carolina home. According to a statement by the Edgefield County Sheriff's Office, during the investigation, deputies found a body wrapped in trash bags in a dug hole. The body was identified as McKinnon's girlfriend, Patricia Ruth Dent, 65. An autopsy later confirmed cause of death for both, with McKinnon dying from a heart attack and Dent from strangulation. The
Oh
deputies
my
also
god.
said that it appeared McKinnon was almost done filling the hole before he died.
That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's the irony, right? Is that a good?
That is so good. Yeah, the irony.
Yeah. So,
He almost got away with it too.
except the stupid heart gave out.
Oh, that's so good.
It's fucking silly, dude. But other than that, we got some movies to talk about.
Fuck yeah. Which one do you want to start with?
Um, let's go in order. Which one did we see first? Northman or the Nick Cage
Northman.
movie? Northman. Okay, let's go with Northman. I will start by saying I liked it. I did
Mhm.
not know that it was like a story that's been told many of times. But that was cool. The the arched back was very distracting, but
Yeah.
no, it was a good movie. I would personally give it probably like an 8 out of 10.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, liked it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. I
yeah.
like that. Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like where your head's at, kid.
Thanks.
Fuck yeah. You know what? I'm in agreement.
Mm.
I've been I've been thinking about this movie a lot.
Okay.
You know, uh, I haven't really I haven't really been able to pinpoint how I feel about it. I'm sure there
Mhm.
are millions of videos out there already. Um, I like it. I mean, not haven't been able to pinpoint how I feel about it, but like pinpoint like how to articulate how I feel about it,
Right,
right?
right.
Like there's a bunch of parallels with Macbeth, with Oedipus Rex, right? Uh with Hamlet. I mean, Hamlet apparently is based off of the Scandinavian, you know, revenge story, right?
Yeah.
Of Amleth, which is what this is. Um I personally can't find too many weaklings. I'll just put it that way. I think uh for the little amount of screen time that she has, uh what is her Nicole Kidman is great in it. Uh I think Ethan Hawke has even less screen time in it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's got a particularly good
Mhm.
scene or two. He's great. He's absolutely great. Him
Mhm.
in this and as Harlow or Harrow in Moon Knight is
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Mhm.
Uh, I would put Harrow, with the exception of the ending, up there with villains. Like
Oh,
just
yeah.
a wonderful villain who uses kind of like his mind and his presence
Mm.
as a tool instead of like, oh, I'm just a guy with weapons or guns or I took a
Right.
potion, shit like that. So that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that aspect. Back to the point. Uh, God, what is his name? The brother. Ooh, this is gonna kill me. I'm
I don't
looking it up right
remember.
now. Uh, Claes Bang, an English actor. He's the actor who played in Netflix's Dracula, who
Oh.
I believe this his performance was wasted on that show. But anyway,
Mhm. Mhm.
besides the point, the movie stars Alexander Skarsgård as Amleth, Anya Taylor-Joy as Olga, I don't want to say a seer, but like a almost like a sorceress or a witch of like the Roos people.
Mhm.
Again, Nicole Kidman, Ethan Hawke, they're the parents. William Defoe is
So
like a
good.
weird seer slash petrified head. Claes Bang is the uncle figure, the scar, if you would. And the mountain is some random dude who gets his head caved in, just like Oberyn.
Got him.
Oh yeah, fucking! I turned to Harry
Mhm.
midway through this movie when the mountain, the actor whose name I will never fucking pronounce because Jesus, that is a weird first name. He's in it. He plays a almost unrecognizable character, long hair, raggedy clothes, running around playing fucking stupid Irish football. He gets his head caved in by Alexander Skarsgård, and I turn to Harry like the moment his head like explodes. I'm like, that's for Oberyn. And Harry turned a silent theater into a loud one.
Yes. I tend to do that.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Anyway, point. The story follows young Amlet as he journeys to avenge the death of his father, to rescue his mother, and to kill Fyodor, I think his name is, his uncle.
Mm.
Uh, and there are oh man, I you know what? Let me step back. It's also directed by fucking God, what is it? Robert Eggers? Robert Eggers at the moment has not produced a bad movie. He has 3
Mhm.
movies under his belt. Um, Witch and Lighthouse. I think Lighthouse is most like art housey. Like he really goes for it. It's in black and white. It's very subjective. It's very interpretive. The performances are great. It's just 2 actors in like a set location, right? Um, Witch is his first one. It's got a very suspenseful, experimental kind of vibe to it. Um, and the Northman, this is by no means an insult. I
Mhm.
genuinely don't mean that, but this one feels, I think, the most commercial, the most, I think,
Mm.
generally approachable, right? Like the
Yeah.
first one's
Think about it.
literally about a fucking witch who eats babies, and The second one is about fucking a pillow hole, and this one is about a guy who it's Hamlet, right? It's
Yeah.
sexier, moodier Hamlet, which is funny because Ethan Hawke played Hamlet in Hamlet 2000,
Oh.
which is a one of those contemporary, doesn't fucking matter, contemporary versions of Hamlet. Anyway, so the story follows Hamlet as he tries to seek revenge. He goes from journeying with Vikings, pillaging, slaving, to traveling to I think it's Iceland. Is it Iceland or Greenland, baby? In the Northman. Thanks for your input. Iceland.
Iceland, yeah.
Uh, to hiding under disguise or omission of identity from his uncle, and pretty much doing what Hamlet does is driving him up the fucking wall crazy
Mhm.
until his revenge. Uh, so let's see. There's I really don't know how to articulate how I like how much I enjoy this movie. I really don't. Um, because I want to say like it feels real, but it doesn't.
Mhm.
Like Robert Eggers has, I think, far more natural lighting. His visual style is so it's n- it's for me it's easily identifiable, but I just don't know how to describe it. Like
Okay.
there's a weirdly visceral, unnerving like quality to his work that I just absolutely love.
Mhm.
There's a moment where Alexander Skarsgård and Anya Taylor-Joy are about to like make the beast with two backs, and it's at night, and instead of it being like this well lit nighttime, you know how most of those movies are, right? Where it's like everything is like the brightest, like deep blue possible at
Yes.
night. This is like the perfect, like there's moonlight and it's shining down through the trees, but everything almost looks black and white.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it feels like such a natural quality. Like I'm talking about the fucking moon, and it's like I'm not really hitting on the point that I want to make. But
Right.
like every shot just is just like brimming with effort, if I could put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, this is the kind of movie where I was thinking to myself, man, I don't know if the art style or his cinematic style would fit, but I could totally see him doing something like the Odyssey,
Yes.
like like folklore, because this I don't want to say it's real or it feels realistic, but it feels more like an attempt to create like a Scandinavian culture. I don't want to get like too
Mhm.
far into that discussion because that's a little weird, but like it wants to like tell a story about how Scandinavian folklore intersects with its culture, right? Because there's a
Mhm.
lot of like religious aspects in it too.
Yes.
Uh, there's the fool that William Defoe plays, who foretells his of his ascension, and then on the opposite end of that, there's Bjork as the seeress who foretells his rise to power and his eventual
Mhm.
death. Spoiler alert: if you don't know fucking Hamlet, too fucking bad. Um, he sees visions. We see the Valkyries. We see we see Willem Dafoe possess someone while he's just a shrunken head, which is probably the best performance of his fucking career.
Yes.
That's mean. I really loved that bit though.
Mhm.
Um, and then he fights a Draugr, or doesn't. Like, it's pretty impressive how that works. And then he
Yeah.
carries around a sword with mythical powers, but at the same time, no mythical powers. Like, we don't quite know how that works. Um, I cannot help you on whether or not that part is good writing or bad writing. But
Mhm.
there's a quality to it where you could read it as like, oh, it's a straight up revenge story with some interpretive theological, or not theological, but mythological folkloric bits,
Mhm.
right? Like you can interpret all of that as not really happening, or you could. And I think that's actually pretty fucking cool that you can incorporate a story where these people believe these things are happening, but for us, we can watch that and be like, "Oh, that's subjective, right?
Right.
That's interesting." Um, Alexander Skarsgård is pretty good. I've never been like the biggest fan of his performances. Like he's fine. He was okay in True Blood. He's got a couple fun little bits out there somewhere, but like I've never been like, "Oh fuck yeah, Alexander Skarsgård." Oh,
Right.
uh, but he's really good in this. Like a lot of what he does is kind of like the feral like man child who can just kill you at a moment's notice. Like
Mhm.
Conan the Barbarian, but from Scandinavia,
Yeah.
which it's fine, but he actually gets a really good few like emotional beats that he does a really good job at, in my opinion.
Mhm.
He's very capable, he's very enjoyable, he's very, very physical. You can one of the things I also enjoy about this is like you can tell everyone's fucking dirty. Like they lugged all the equipment
Yeah.
up to this fucking like Icelandic little island and fucking everyone's wearing fake like Scandinavian boots and they're all walking in fucking mud and shit. Um, I enjoy shit like that. I really do. I really enjoy when there isn't some insurance dude like, "Oh no, we can't get you stuck in the mud." Yeah.
Right.
So Alexander Skarsgård, good for him. He's really good. I still think Anya Taylor-Joy is like, yes, Joy, is really good in this.
Okay.
She began her career with Eggers. She wasn't the mermaid that that was in the Lighthouse. Too bad, so sad. She's in this. Um, there's a mystic quality given to her, as if she has some kind of witchcraft-like powers. To
Mhm.
be fair, there isn't. I think for the plot, there is not much for her character. She facilitates a lot of stuff. She's important in the sense that like she continues the bloodline. I was just disappointed that they didn't give her a little more to do. Because this isn't a one-to-one Hamlet. It's not like a one-to-one Macbeth or a one-to-one Oedipus Rex. So I would
Yeah.
have liked to have seen her, I think, a little more active as a character, not as a performance. She's fucking great in the
Yeah.
performance. Um, but yeah, Nicole Kidman, she's good. Uh, I don't really have too much to say on it. I was actually impressed with what I had seen of Claes Bang. He's almost completely unrecognizable in this movie with this like long fucking Viking hair and beard.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm looking at his fucking photo right now, and he's got like this square jaw and short fucking hair, and like this like tasteful little like scar on his chin. And like I'm thinking,
Tasteful.
shit, this dude is wearing like rags or like a tunic and a long fucking like grayed beard and long hair. And like damn. And he's also great in it too. Like I really enjoyed his like carefree sociopathic attitude. No,
Mhm.
sociopathic or
Mhm.
psychopath. Yeah, psychopathic attitude in Dracula.
Mhm.
Um, really enjoyable. I think he's the best part of Dracula, by the way. Um, he adds a layer of humanity to the bad guy, I would imagine.
Mhm.
Um, it's very clear that the movie doesn't really give a shit about the concepts of morality that we have. Like fucking Amleth begins this movie after he flees from his uncle as a fucking slaver, basically.
Mhm.
Not a okay. Hold on. He begins it as a Viking raider, a member of the Rus, who or of the Rus region, who are like Eastern European, like Proto-Russian, proto like Slavic, like Scandinavian mixed kind of folk. So the beginning of it is literally him escaping this cold scared kid and then literally rowing a boat that's about to go fucking murder a whole village and then sell a bunch of these people into slavery.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty clear that like one, the story doesn't really care about what our concepts are of morality at the moment, and it's like, hey, let's kind of demystify the Vikings a little bit because they're portrayed by a lot of unsavory groups as like uh the right kind of people, and I appreciate that they kind of like, no, let's disenchant the Vikings. Let's take away a little bit of like the mystique around what they are, right?
Yeah.
Uh and I bring that up because at the end of the fucking movie, Nicole Kidman gets fucking murdered and their relatively innocent son. So, Fyodor I don't fucking know his name. Face bang. So Dracula and Nicole Kidman have a kid, and Dracula already has like a bastard son from before, and his ass gets killed. But in the very end, before the final confrontation between Amleth and Dracula, um, fucking Amleth just fucking kills his mother and kills their kid. And it's not like he just walks into the room, like kicks the door down and just like fucking stabs them repeatedly like a fucking serial killer, but like he does kill them.
Yeah.
It's clear that it weighs on him, but it's like, hey, yeah, like we don't give a shit. Like this is a story that we want to tell without any kind of like, you know, that's gonna happen. Whatever. Fucking get over it. So the reason I bring that up is because Dracula kills his brother. Uh also can't fucking pronounce his name, and I'm not gonna try. King Ethan Hawke. We're gonna go with Ethan Hawke.
Mm-hmm.
He kills his brother, and it's very clear that it's a traumatizing thing for Amneth. Like he literally makes a blood pact to avenge his father.
Yeah.
And the whole story is like Sears literally telling him like you have to avenge your dad for the wrong that was done. But it's clear that like Dracula has realistic motivations. Like he wants to take care of his village. He wants to take care of like his family. He wants them to grow up and become rulers. And like it's very clear that he has straightforward motivations, right? Like in any other movie, this would be an instance where it would be like, oh, we have to show how evil he is. Let's have him
Right.
cut down one of his slaves just to scare, everyone else. But it's like, no, there's actually a pretty interesting scene where he's introduced for the second time, where he's talking to his son. And don't get me wrong, it's about how to be strong on your slaves.
Right.
But it's like there's not like a mustache twirlingly evil like line that he says like, you see, son, they're like stupid and incapable of, you have to be strong. No, it's like, hey, go do the work yourself because it shows like that you're capable. And it kind of like it reinforces that you're capable of, taking care of these people and ruling over these people. That I don't agree with that sentiment, but it's like I think that's a far more human quality when he's describing it to his son, which
Right.
is obviously like this monarchical society, right? Than
Mm-hmm.
him just being conventionally evil. And it there's there's this bit where after he kills or after Emleth kills his wife and kids, Dracula is obviously fucking heartbroken. Like you can see that it pains him. Like he's not like, I never loved her in the first place. Yes.
Right.
Or like when his firstborn son is dead, he cries. Like it's a very
Mm-hmm.
human moment. And it's clear that he's heartbroken and you almost feel bad for him because it's like he kills his brother and
Yeah.
then King Harold invades fucking Britain, seizing his lands, and then he flees to Greenland to start this like hovel kingdom. And it's clear that he's actually not a terrible father. Like his firstborn son is a little shithead
Right.
and whatnot, but it's like he's a real person with real motivations.
Yeah.
And I really do appreciate that. Um I think the only thing I didn't care for was the fact that I I don't despise it, like, it doesn't ruin the movie for me, but as a preference, I would have preferred if the tragedy aspect of this movie was more nailed home.
Okay.
Uh, like, what ends up happening is, Bjork the Cirrus says you'll have to choose between hate for your enemy and kindness for your kin.
Right.
And the entire time he is just laser focused on just fucking up his uncle.
Yep.
Uh and he eventually falls in love with Olga, Anya Taylor-Joy, and they copulate. And in the end, when they're getting off the island, they're fine. They're happy. They're getting ready to leave together. He realizes in a vision that he's going to have kids, and one of the kids is going to be this maiden king, destined to succeed the throne.
Mhm.
And he leaves amicably with Olga, or he leaves, departs amicably from Olga because, as he rationalizes it, he gets to have his cake and eat it too. Because
Right.
he finds out that he's going to have kids, and then he says right in front of Olga, "No, as long as Dracula is alive, these kids will never be safe." So he jumps off the boat, knowing that the kids will be safe, and knowing that Anya Taylor Joy will be safe. That he's not leaving her brokenhearted because he's a bad guy or because he can't let things go, or their relationship isn't destroyed because he can't do anything other than get revenge. It's, I love you and I'm going to save us,
Right.
which is different, right? That does have a different
Yeah.
connotation to it.
Mhm.
That's noble. That's justifiable. That is romantic. And I don't mean that in like a, oh, like romanticism, right? Uh, he goes back, he fights on the gates of hell, which is just a active volcano, and he is stabbed in the heart while he decapitates his uncle. And as he lies dying, he sees a Valkyrie taking his soul up to Valhalla. That's the only bit that I, as a preference, I would have preferred if he loses everything because he needs revenge.
Right.
Because that's, to me, that's part of what makes Hamlet so good is he can't let anything else go. He has opportunities to leave or to let it go or to be, not be a better person. I don't necessarily know if that makes you a better person, but to be someone who can have a life, right?
Right.
And he doesn't choose it, even when it's right there, and it causes his death. And the thing is that you feel for Hamlet, right? It's
Yeah.
like, hey, dude, take this option. You're not a terrible dude, but like you get like more and more anxious that like the choices he makes are just one more step towards his death, towards his demise, towards his fate, towards the tragedy. And I'm disappointed that I feel like the ending was a little bit like I said, let me have my cake and eat it too. Let me have the woman that I love and then also have the kids, which is important in the story of this
Mhm.
movie, right? Like succession, giving like an heir, like that's an important thing. So not only does he uh, get to be with the woman that he eventually becomes, who he comes to love, he also finds out that he's going to have kids, and he's not dying now because he can't not want revenge. He's dying because he's a father, because he would do what any loving parent would do
Mhm. Mhm.
in the face of protecting like your children if you deeply love them. Like you die for your family, which I thought was, it takes away some of the, I think, again, I don't think it necessarily wanted to be a tragedy. It's clear. I think Eggers is more than competent enough to know that like what kind of fucking movie he's making. But
Yeah.
as an ending, I think I would have preferred the more tragic aspect of it personally.
Okay.
But still great, still fucking amazing. I would also probably give this an 8. Visual style great, acting great, sound is great. On a technical aspect, it feels real, it feels gritty, it feels really hard worked for, and I always love that, always.
Nice. And we're in
Fuck yeah.
agreement. Now,
Goddamn right.
yeah, I mean, you kind of went all out on it, and I 100% agree. I mean, obviously, my descriptions are way less. It's as simple as I liked it, 8 out of 10. But yeah, like how you described it is basically how I felt. Um, so,
Good. Good. I don't
um,
mind, dude. Seriously, whatever you want.
speaking of Ethan Hawke, I totally forgot about Moon Knight. You
You know what?
ah
I haven't gotten the chance to watch the last episode all the way through.
okay,
Um, I know what happens, but let me watch the last episode and then we'll talk about it next week.
you got it.
Yeah?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, let's go with we good with Northman.
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll move on to our second film. Uh, The Unbearable Weight of Unfathomable.
The unbearable weight of being Nicolas Cage.
There we go. um, I would have to say, I'm trying to think of all the movies we've seen this year, but I feel like this is the funnest film I've seen this year for sure.
Oh god. Yeah. Um I feel like I feel stupid. I feel like I know exactly how I want to like come at the next movie we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um but with these two movies I really need to brush up on my like interpretation or like how to interpret like uh just film in general. I think on a general scale because I think I really do think the MCU has kind of dulled my senses a bit in
Uh
terms
huh.
of like
Yeah. Yeah.
media criticism, like genuine genuine media criticism, not like oh there aren't black people in Scandinavia. This is reverse racism. I mean like
Right.
oh I didn't care for like oh the metaphor didn't work or like oh it's a poorly real you get the idea. So I
Yeah.
gotta practice that. Anyway, Harry,
Yes.
lead on.
Um. So definitely my favorite film this year. What funnest film this year that I've seen. Um. Definitely exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Um. And just had a great time. Laughed. Um.
Uncontrollably one or
Yeah.
two times.
Dude. You'll probably get into certain scenes that were really good, but yeah, man. I mean, I'm trying to think how many like comedies Nick Cage has been in, but I don't think he's been in many. And
Mm-hmm.
this one, dude, yeah, it was really good. Like just the concept of like Nicolas Cage playing himself was fucking
Yeah,
brilliant.
playing like some like weird parallel of himself.
Yeah, like it was again fantastic. Um, didn't, but it was still one of those where it was like, um, yeah, it was fucking great, dude. Like I have not enough like great things to say about it. You know, I would rewatch because
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, it's just and again you'll go more into detail, but um the co-lead actor did fucking a
Oh,
fantastic job.
oh,
And we saw a side of them that we haven't seen before because for me at least I haven't seen them in a um
too much. Yeah.
too much, but also not in like a comical role like this, right?
Yeah.
um and it's great that they are able to do that. And I don't know, I just this one definitely, I'm also gonna give it an 8 out of 10. um I feel like I should give it a 9, but I feel like it's just out of by me being biased because I enjoyed it so much. Like it
But
was
you review it however you want.
okay. So I'll review it like I review metal albums.
Okay.
I out of favoritism, I give it a 9 out of 10. Um, but like realistically, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. Um, just because I can see that maybe some people might not, you know what I mean? Like it might not have like everything that someone would like enjoy. Um, when it comes to like a movie like this, but for
Mhm.
me, it like hit everything. I was like, wow, this movie was fucking fantastic. Um, um, I think the only thing I feel the only thing that probably like, it felt when I watched it, I felt like, you know, more fresh in my brain.
Mhm.
The I forgot there's something that I was like, oh, instead of like the people they had as like so you know how it's like a movie within a movie. So
Yeah.
in that movie that was created, like they could have gotten like other people to play certain characters that I was like, oh, they missed out, but I forgot who was running through my head at the time. Um,
Mhm.
but
Oh,
no,
like how John Travolta is fucking Gold Member in Gold Member.
yeah, like where's John Travolta? It would have been fucking great if John Travolta was there, right? Like I just I don't know. It's that kind of stuff. I was like, they they hit almost everything, or they did hit everything. It's just like they could have hit like harder with like maybe certain
Yeah.
castings. Um, but it was still really good. Like I think all of even the main bad guy, like how he was, like I think did very well. Um,
Mhm.
um, so good. Um, yeah, I'm gonna hand it off to you because I'm just ranting and yeah.
Hey, no, if you want to keep ranting, by all
No,
means, go ahead, dude.
I'm done ranting. That's why I'm handing it
Okay.
over to you.
All right. All right. So like I was giving myself a little shit for. I can't tell if this movie is full of itself
Mm-hmm.
or like it's clear that it's trying to say something
Yeah.
about like the actor of, the history around the actor. But like I can't tell if it's like a messy shamble of a movie that
Mm-hmm.
like just doesn't go anywhere. I think with its message, I
Right.
loved it,
Mm-hmm.
but like I can't quite tell because of my poor media analysis at the moment if if it's telling something larger, if it's just doing something for fun. Like of course it's for fun, but if uh
Mm-hmm.
if it's got a couple screws loose. Anyway, um this tells the story of Nick Cage playing Nick Cage.
Yes.
And in it, he is a 50 something struggling actor uh who has too much time on his hands and yet does not commit it to being a good father and a good ex-husband. He is contacted by his agent, who's played by Neil Patrick Harris, uh, to attend the birthday party of some famous Spaniard millionaire, billionaire, mogul fella who's a big fan. And of course, if you are being hired to go to someone's birthday and you're a movie star, I would imagine that'd probably be like rock bottom, right? Like you're the clown. Hey, we hired Bozo the clown, right? Except he looks like Nick
Mm-hmm.
Cage. So he goes to under the condition that this is his last bit. He's quitting acting, and despite the protestations of what I would imagine is his ego, which is a younger, more Nick Cage version of Nick Cage,
Mm-hmm.
he goes and takes the gig, where he meets Pedro Pascal, who is this elusive billionaire millionaire who is completely obsessed with him. He has a mannequin from like or a wax sculpture of him with replica guns from Face Off. He knows all his movies. He has a room committed entirely to him. Um, and he mainly wants him to look over a script that he's writing. And along the way, he is hired by the CIA to investigate him because they believe that he's a drug kingpin. So along the way, they become friends. We find out that not only is Pedro Pascal not the drug dealer, but it's his cousin or brother, cousin. I'm going to go with cousin, and
Yeah.
he's running it and using his cousin as a proxy for legitimacy. And his family's brought in, kind of a hostage situation thing. He frees them and kills the bad guy, uh, and all's right in the world. He accepts uh, his daughter's opinions and interests. He solidifies his friendship with Pedro Pascal, and he reasserts himself as the head of the household, I suppose, whatever that means. Uh, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
it's interesting. I don't know how useful it is to the story, but it's interesting watching the actor. Side note, it's funny because hearing an interview with him, he doesn't talk about playing himself.
Mm.
He talks about playing this person called Nick Cage
Really?
and what it means to get in the mind of this person.
Uh-huh.
So he's obviously right,
Yeah.
right? So
God damn.
it's it's fun watching Nick Cage replicate himself or play this actor who is okay. I'm going to be honest. I actually think Nick Cage is a solid actor.
Oh, yeah, I 100%
Um,
agree with you.
what bothers no, not what bothers me, but what I think is that one, he can also have the capacity to be a really bad actor. A really bad
Yes.
actor who has done more of those wacky performances that I think have captured the American eye.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the internet became a big thing around this time.
Mhm.
And the internet pretty much cannibalizes anything that they find relatively funny
Yep.
or whatever it decides is funny at that time.
Yeah.
Nick Cage, very much in a sense, like Keanu Reeves, has become less an actor and more of like an internet deity.
Mhm.
Like, let's be honest, if Cyberpunk 2077 came out and instead of Keanu Reeves, it had like Nick Cage, and Nick Cage did like the same, oh no, you're beautiful, and like all that, like he would also be like universally enjoyed in the same
Yes.
way. Maybe not the exact same way, but like in a similar capacity. So it's interesting seeing Nick Cage play this person. Because to be fair, he isn't playing Nick Cage, right? He's playing like what he is perceived as.
Right.
Um, and Nicolas Cage does his best to imbue Nick with a lot of ego, uh, a little bit of narcissism. But what's beautiful, I think, is Pedro Pascal because Pedro Pascal is the antithesis of all of that, right? He's
Yeah.
earnest, he is open, he's bare. There are so many great moments where he the humor comes from just his honesty and his earnestness, and not even like
Yeah.
innocence or naivete, but just like remember that story I was talking about with fucking Eric Roberts with that shit bag,
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
and like I was mentioning how my dad had like the hand gestures, like the nervous hand things, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
Pedro Pascal is that
Yeah.
in this entire movie. And I couldn't help but feel that before I came in and sat down and watched this movie, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little apprehensive.
Mhm. Mhm.
I know you were excited, and I know I was excited like 8 months out when we were talking about this, but
Yes.
I was thinking to myself, like, this looks like a cheap movie. It looks like it's just gonna be like cheap laughs and so on and so forth. And I get it, and I was pleasantly surprised because it wasn't that. And I was also worried that Nicolas Cage was going to make Nick even more over the top, and it was going
Right.
to overshadow every other character or an actor in the performance.
Mhm.
And Pedro Pascal, in the most graceful way possible, somehow matches Nick Cage's energy
Mhm.
and just doesn't Nick Cage himself. Like
Yeah.
I like I like bits.
Mhm.
I like in jokes in movies. Um, I'm getting to a point with this. What I really like with like stuff like Ocean's 11, 12, and 13 is that there are always like these running gags, and the gag is like not necessarily pertinent to the movie or the story, but it's like it's pertinent to the characters. And because
Okay.
we know the characters and we know like how they are, it's like it makes that funny. You don't really get that in movies nowadays. It's just like joke after joke after joke after joke, or it's like it's just not
Right.
funny, or the jokes just don't quite land. Um, but this has 8 minutes, and I said this to you, and I don't mean to just make this a recurring thing, but this has 8 minutes where nothing of genuine plot substance happens. Okay, but
Yeah.
8 minutes where Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage are coming up with an idea for their movie. When he's on the island, he befriends Pedro Pascal begrudgingly, eventually comes to love him like a friend, best friend and brother, and they decide to make a movie. They take acid together, and the moment they're driving to when the fucking acid wears off is like 8 minutes
Mhm.
of some of the funniest like rapport between the two actors that I had enjoyed in a long time.
Yeah.
Because Pedro Pascal is able to essentially like squirt bottle Nicolas Cage into submission, I think, performance wise.
Yeah.
Like almost all of the humor does not come from Nicolas Cage because Nicolas Cage does most of the humor himself for most of this movie. It comes from Pedro Pascal, who is physically funny and just funny in how he delivers his comedy. There's like so they're on fucking acid and they're sitting down and they start to get paranoid and they're worried that two people are watching them. And Nicolas Cage is like, laugh, laugh, it might ease the tension. And Pedro Pascal just turns his head and just stares at them and starts laughing. Right?
Yes.
And he
Oh,
turns
that's
back
so
to Nick and says,
good.
I don't think that's worked. Um, And then, of course, it's in the trailer. They it's the funniest fucking bit when they climb over this wall and Pedro Pascal can't like climb it, and he's like telling him to go on, and it's like this really just so schmaltzy over the top scene. And then he walks around the wall, and it's like, oh hey, I could walk the whole time. And then you see two people who look like the two that they were paranoid were staring at them. Except it's not I can't explain it, like, I'm absolutely certain my explaining it does not make it funny, and my explaining it to someone would probably be like, "Ah, I guess it's funny." But, like, the sheer joy I got from, like, a simple 8-minute scene of just funny fucking bits
Yeah.
as one bit of them just being fucking, like, high out of their fucking minds was so satisfying for me in a way that, like, I could not describe, or I
Mhm.
cannot describe. I know this is kind of like the Pedro Pascal gushing hour, but to be honest, I was really worried that I wouldn't care for Pedro Pascal. I remember the first movie I saw him in was Was it Great? I saw it with you actually. Great Wall with Matt Damon.
No, I was not there.
Oh, perfect. Good. I spared
Yes.
you. He plays kind of like this weird sidekick who gets like a really weird ending with
Mm,
a couple funny lines. He plays Oberyn, who again is like one of the best parts of season 4 of Game of Thrones.
mhm,
I haven't seen anything of Narcos, but I've heard he's wonderful in it. But like with the Mandalorian, with his dialogue being
mhm.
jilted, I always got the impression that like maybe he isn't like that great, right? Like maybe there's something going on.
Yeah,
Um, this movie is absolutely wonderful. Like he has comedic chops. He's got great comedic timing. I've said it before. He has a very physical sense of comedy, like physical delivery, how to make something look funny just by physically doing so. Um, and there's a lot of heart to some of the puppy dog bits where he's following Nick Cage around before they become friends and before like they really know each other. There's some really touching parts, and he really, I think, provides the soul to what this movie is.
yeah, I
Like an
agree.
earnestness that I really love.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I second everything you said about him. Cause fuck,
good.
dude. Yeah, he killed it in this movie. It was, oh man, I just,
Nick Cage is great,
oh yeah. I mean,
but
Nick Cage is Nick Cage. He plays,
I'm
yeah, he plays himself, or this character of Nick Cage like very well.
yeah, I'm of the mind that like I think Pig is the best thing he's done in years. Like
mhm.
it's very soft spoken. It's very
He,
there's just pain dripping in like every scene that he's in,
mhm.
and he's so under like he undersells every bit of like oh god I can't begin to tell you how good he is. I don't want this to just be the Pedro Pascal
I,
gushing
I,
clock,
I,
but
I, n- I need to sit down and watch Pig. I haven't.
like you're thinking, or at least when I first watched it, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, it's John Wick. It's John Wick with a fucking pig. This shit is stupid. Let's sit down and fucking watch it and laugh. Um, no, no. There's like, you know how the first John Wick has like a oh, here's kind of like a larger world,
Mhm.
and we're gonna give you a glimpse into it, but it's not too dissimilar from ours. It's just a little kind of classier, like
Yes.
classy spy shit, classy assassin shit.
Yep.
It's kind of like that with Pig, right? Where it's like the only literal violence in this fucking movie is when he goes to a server and busser fight club,
Okay.
and he does it to get information, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is the part where we understand that like he's this badass and he's going to like beat the shit out of everyone." No, he literally takes like an ass whooping to get the information that he wants.
Nice.
And that is such a more powerful scene than like realizing he's John Wick.
Right.
Because it's like what's so heartbreaking is that this movie, when I was watching a lot of like Twitter anticipation for it, from newbies and fucking normies, which you know what I have to fucking fall under because I had the same fucking thing. We're just making the John Wick joke. And as enjoyable as John Wick is,
Mhm.
as a movie, like on a technical like level, right? Keanu Reeves kicking ass at like 50 something, pushing 60, uh, directed by a stunt coordinator or a stunt actor, realistic as fuck, fun. I think the the whole trauma aspect is
Mhm.
done so much better in if we're making comparisons, surface level
Right.
comparisons. The the dealing with trauma aspect I think is so much more enjoyable in Pig.
Mhm.
Like I get it. It's not the single important aspect in John Wick, but still,
Yeah.
like Pig. Anyway, Nicolas Cage is great. Pedro Pascal, dare I say better, and his awful de aging Nicky Cage. is so amazing.
Yeah.
It is. Oh man, I want. Man, Nicolas Cage is such a method actor. I want to know what he did to get into the role. Nick Cage. Oh God, so good,
Yeah.
so fucking good.
Okay. Move on to the next movie.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
All right. So the next movie is, well, fucking Doctor Strange.
Doctor
Um
Strangle.
so I went in stoked because Doctor Strange, and I want to see the next chapter of the Marvel, you know, universe thing. Um Not knowing a few things and actually like being surprised while watching the movie. Um the things are, one, Wanda Wanda being the villain. I it at least for me, I didn't suspect that.
Hmm.
I don't know if it was like thrown out there before, but I didn't suspect her being the villain.
Hmm.
Um and the the director being the director. I didn't
Yeah.
know who was directing the film because I don't look at that shit. Um and seeing at the very end it says directed by, who,
Hmm.
I was like, "Oh fuck. Wait a minute. This all makes sense." Like, looking back
Yeah.
at the
All the
movie, and
pieces are fitting.
all the pieces fit, like why the movie was so entertaining to me. I was like, "Oh, it makes sense." Like, there's a meme that's going around where it's like it's a Trojan horse, and it's Raimi, and like in the front, and then like the Trojan horse being Doctor Strange 2, and then
Yeah.
like the inside says Evil Dead 4. It's like, yes, that is literally what Doctor Strange was.
It's it would be Doctor Strange or fucking Evil Dead if
Mm,
fucking Disney purchased the rights to it. All right. Well, we have this IP, but we have to do something with it.
mm.
Uh, can you make it PG-13? But can you make it like not how you made the previous movies PG-13? Can it be
Right.
like for kids?
Yeah.
uh, I so
Uh,
I we talked about this before, and I think I mentioned
mm-hmm,
spoilers. Um, I was familiar with a lot of leaks that ended up happening,
mm-hmm.
but was not sure about one or two of them.
Right.
I did not really. I For some reason I just like therapied my way out of remembering that Bruce Campbell would probably cameo in it because it's a Sam Raimi movie,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the other cameos. It was a small one. It didn't really matter, but just the fact that they put him in it was fascinating.
Who was that?
Anson Mount as Black Bolt.
Oh, okay. Oh, dude.
The
Oh, hold on. Before we continue, that fucking death. I know we. It's
Oh
still in
yeah,
my brain. The
oh it's so
fucking
good.
he'll he'll kill you, or what? I forget what the correct term
He
was.
can kill you with
Single.
just a one word from his mouth. What mouth?
Yeah. What mouth? Blows his
Oh
brains out. Oh god, so good. Anyways, keep going. Yeah.
god.
Spoilers.
um. So okay. Uh, where was I going with this? Oh, so the multiverse of madness follows Doctor Stephen Strange
Dr.
after the
Mordred.
blip.
Sorry.
We'll get to fucking Doctor Mordred. Oh,
So
you
good.
fucking believe it. As he's still kind of putting his piece. No, no, no. He's dealing with kind of accepting his life as the Doctor Strange. His love interest from the first movie, who they mutually had to kind of like separate, uh, is now getting married.
Mm,
America Chavez, who is a multi-dimensional individual is fleeing from this being or collection of beings, creatures within the multiverse that want to harvest her powers. Her powers, in the comics as well as this, seem to be super strength, flight, and the ability to open up portals.
Mm-hmm.
So Strange saves America, uh, and realizes that the creatures attacking America, with the help of Wong, the backbone of this movie, uh, find out that there are runes on these creatures, that they're being controlled. So, knowing that runes belong to witchcraft instead of sorcery, he goes to the only logical character within the MCU who knows anything about runes, Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch. He divulges information asking for assistance on how to help America, and in the process finds out that Wanda is in fact the one controlling the creatures trying to kill America, to harness her powers to get to her children in some other universe. Um, she has been using the Darkhold, the book acquired at the end of WandaVision, to amplify her powers or gain insight into the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite entirely sure. It really does not fucking matter. So Strange and the other sorcerers at Carmartage, the sorcerer training ground, sorcerer Hogwarts kind of area, is attacked. Most of the sorcerers are killed or defeated by Wanda, who is trying to use the Darkhold's power to harness America's power, as I said before. Uh, let's see. America is able to open up a portal and pulls herself and Strange through to another dimension. A parallel dimension, not too dissimilar from our own or the 616 universe. Uh, while Wanda is stuck in this universe, or let's just say the MCU, the one that we know, Marvel Cinematic Universe, um, the Darkhold is destroyed, preventing her from using her, was it dream walking?
Yeah.
Essentially possessing other iterations of herself in other universes. So she ties up one, takes him to a temple from which the Darkhold was transcribed, that has all the runes and whatnot and the magic um, that the Darkhold would have. She then teleports into another Wanda who is happy with kids, um, also in that same parallel weird universe. So, let's see. Strange in America are. Uh, uh, I see. That's the thing, is that I don't know what the main plot point of the that other book is. The good book. I don't know what the fuck the point is between that one. Anyway,
Mm. I
help me
think
out with that if you know.
I
But
th- well, I mean, in the movie they're saying it grants them like anything they want, right? So like
okay,
I guess just one wish, like whatever they need the most at the time or whatever.
I don't fucking know though. Like,
Yeah.
because Wanda wants America for her her interdimensional thing, so that she can
Yeah.
fucking like have a bajillion copies of her kids. So like
Hmm.
I don't fucking, doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, so in this universe, we find out that Mordo, MCU arch nemesis to Doctor Strange, is in fact his friend or enviable frenemy, and is part of the Illuminati, who is headed by Patrick Stewart as Professor X, who comes back for a 5 minute, $50,000 paycheck.
So good.
Anson Mount, yeah, Anson Mount, who I am so impressed, comes back from his absolutely awful, not him being awful, but um, who comes back after his portrayal as Black Bolt from the TV show that was like an episode and a half of the Inhumans. Uh,
Oh, okay. So there's a
yeah,
TV
I don't
show.
give a shit. Nope, we're not talking about it.
Okay.
No, from what I'd seen of it was absolute shit, and I'll talk about it when I'm fucking hammered. Anyway, he comes in a comic accurate costume. He's good. Um, I'm actually going to talk about him again in about 20 minutes when I talk about Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Um, Peggy Carter, who is Captain Britain. No, I'm just kidding. Agent Carter, who is the
Hmm.
first Avenger in this universe instead of
No.
Steve Rogers. Um, Monica Rambeau, uh, Captain Marvel's no, how do I want to put it? She's the Captain Marvel in this universe. Uh, what is Brie Larson's Carol Danvers? She's Carol Danvers' friend and co-pilot in uh, Captain Marvel, and she is Captain Marvel in this.
Hmm.
And John Krasinski is Mr. Fantastic. Anyway, uh, so it's there that we find out that they don't really fucking give a shit about Wanda, even though they fucking should. But what they're really worried about is Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange apparently in like every universe that they fuck with, um, eventually acquires too much power. They eventually use the Darkhold to dreamwalk, just like what Wanda's doing,
Hmm.
and have a tendency to cause incursions where they'll transfer over to dimensions, and this creates some kind of destabilization which jeopardizes both universes, causing an incursion, causing the destruction of both universes.
Hmm.
So what ended up happening is in this universe Thanos happened, except Strange uses the Darkhold to gain so much power that he's almost single-handedly able to defeat Thanos. And the Illuminati, the aforementioned people, kill Doctor Strange and frame his death or his murder as a heroic death to galvanize the world and to maintain power for them. Uh, they are too late to prevent Wanda from coming in and violently fucking wrecking their shit. Um, she caves in Black Bolt's head or makes his brain explode. Um, she very painfully turns John Krasinski into spaghetti, which tickled me pink. She cuts Captain Carter in half. She crushes Captain Marvel with a statue, and within Wanda's own mind, because Xavier's really fucking good at that kind of shit, she snaps his neck, killing him in his own mind. Uh,
Hmm.
kills the the Illuminati, tracks the uh, Doctor Strange and America, who have now allied with this universe's Rachel McAdams character. I'm really disappointed. She gives a solid performance with like nothing to do. Uh, Christine, there we go.
Yes.
Um, so they go to another dimension. America gets separated and captured by Wanda. Strange and Christine go to another universe where they're trying to get the Darkhold to figure out what to do with it, and they find another Strange, um, who is decrepit and who has been killing other Stranges. He is eventually killed in a very Sam Raimi-esque fashion. Uh, and Strange possesses the body of a dead alternate universe Strange in his universe. The beginning of the movie was an alternate Strange. I think his name. is like Defender Strange
Mm-hmm.
with America fleeing one of the creatures, and he's killed, and his body is flung into the MCU, and it's buried. So while Strange is in another dimension, unable to save America because Wanda pulls America back into the MCU, he possesses his other body. Like I said, if you dreamwalk, you can only do that with other multiverse versions of yourself. So he takes the Darkhold, he uses its power. He makes a point of saying, "Ah, fuck it, I have to save this person. It doesn't matter how I do it or what I do. It matters how I do it, or whatever reason." He becomes a Deadite,
So good.
and thwarts Wanda's plans, but Wanda still gets the chance to see her kids. Realizes that they're fucking afraid of her because she's like trying to kill that Wanda, and has a change of heart and then decides to bring the entire castle down on her for some reason. Uh, yeah, America Chavez is trained by Camartage. Doctor Strange gets to admit that he's in love with Christine, and that if it was any other circumstance, uh, he would still be with her. And she says the same thing. They have a kiss. She goes back to her universe. Um, and the movie ends actually surprisingly with like Doctor Strange like, "Oh, I'm gonna go live my life," and he walks out in like the first fucking like 10 steps. He like retches in pain, and then the last thing you see is like a third eye grow, and the third eye is like a shorthand for him being corrupted because the previous Doctor Strange, the one that he has to kill because he's been killing a bunch of other people, also has a third eye because it's a symbol of Darkhold energy power or whatever. I don't fucking know. So that's Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
Um, Harry, what are your thoughts?
Someone asked me if it was my favorite Marvel movie, and I said I don't know if it tops. Um, like for me, my favorite ones are definitely the first Guardians of the Galaxy
Mm,
and Thor Ragnarok.
okay,
Um, I would have
solid
to
choices. Solid
I
choices.
would have to give it at least another watch,
Hmm.
but I think it's definitely up there. Like
Really?
I would say it's number three. Um,
Ooh.
I think I would rank mine Ragnarok, first Guardians of the Galaxy, and then this Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Like I said before, there are things in this movie that obviously because of the director that really tickled my pickle.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah.
um, but I don't know if it's overall better than those other movies. Just yet, right? I feel
Yeah.
like I've seen those movies multiple times already, and they've really like anchored in like, okay, for sure, these are my favorite Marvel movies, but I don't know um if this one's gonna like surpass those, right?
Right.
Um, but oh yes, it's up there. Like there are definite things I wish there was more.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously because of other universes, we got Professor Xavier, we got Fantastic Four, um, other characters and stuff. So I'm like kind of like you know I would I want to see more, but at the same time,
Hmm.
like we may not get like I think we discussed after the movie where I was saying like I think this is kind of like a you know homage to the the Fox universe that was
Yeah.
taken over.
There's some. Yeah. There's some reference to that. I don't think
Yeah,
he's the same. It's the same X or the same.
you know,
Uh, who's ever. But yeah. No, I get you.
like I feel like definitely it's just I think it's definitely like it was like a way for them to be like, all right, like this is
Let's do
your
this.
yeah, like this is your like this is the fans getting to see Professor Xavier one last time, you know. Like
Yes.
or like oh
Yeah.
sorry, Patrick Stewart as Professor Xavier, right? Like I think they're obviously gonna recast Professor Xavier for something else.
Mhm.
The one thing I was actually talking to Livy after the movie was the whole like having Magneto in the MCU right now. Um,
Mhm.
the
I'm interested in seeing where that goes.
because Magneto is a Holocaust survivor,
Yes.
so it would be really difficult to have Magneto
Do
and
do me a favor.
yeah,
Do me a favor.
hmm
Look up and this goes to everyone else too. Look up Nando, Nando, like Fernando. Look up Nando V movies.
Nan-
I think you
Nando.
would, yeah,
Sorry, Nando V what?
V
Oh,
movies.
okay, okay. I think you've recommended them,
I've
yeah.
I've recommended him before. I want you to, you don't have to.
Okay, so there's a video casting the X-Men in the
He
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Not just the X-Men, the Gen 2 X-Men, the Brotherhood of Mutants.
Oh, there's
He
literally how Marvel
Yeah.
can solve the Magneto problem. Fair
That's
enough.
exactly what I wanted to bring up. He is, I think, a fairly knowledgeable comic book fan. Um, he gives you plenty of workarounds and of the such. I enjoy his opinion. I find it fairly reliable. If anyone's interested, also go ahead and check him out. He also goes over really fun rewrites, by the way, for superhero movies. He does a really good one for Thor: The Dark World or Thor 2 that
Mm-hmm.
I think would have been really enjoyable. He does
Okay.
another one for. He actually does a really fun ending for Star Wars that I liked. Anyway,
Oh,
um, I completely agree, and it's also, believe it or not, it's the same thing with Wanda Maximoff too, right?
mm,
Which is a little
yes.
disappointing because in the comics she's a Romani Jew.
Mm,
Like, she's Romani
yeah.
and she's Jewish. Like, those are two things that, one, the movies completely change, and two, the movies also make her pal around with Nazis, which feels a little weird, you know,
Right.
about like the movies changing a character who is Jewish and is part of an organization that defends mutants from persecution. Um, that are not Nazis, by the way. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are not evil. They're uh, they're typically right in some of the ways that they operate. Just they're made to be bad guys most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
just putting that out there. So it's kind of, I think it's a really big misstep that I don't think they included that aspect of who she is. And I think it's also a misstep that like her and her brother pal around with actual Nazis to
Right.
defend themselves against just what, American imperialism.
Mm,
Mhm. Anyway, no, I get where you're coming from. I I think it would be interesting to see, uh not, I don't mean more diverse characters, but characters who deal with that kind of thing, right? Like, what does it mean to be like Jewish, right? A Jewish
yeah.
superhero or a Jewish supervillain. Like, it was interesting watching Moon Knight, uh, from what I had seen, where they
Yeah.
kind of address Mark Spector's religion, right? His crisis of faith.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they handled it. Um, it, it didn't come off as particularly pertinent to him as a character, but they tried to make it really powerful when he took his yarmulke and was just punching it on the ground.
Yeah.
Say what you will. I don't really have much of an opinion of it, but it came across, I think, as a little misplaced. So I wonder how they could do that with another character. And Magneto would be interesting. I
Yeah,
mean, you always see movies of crises of faith typically through like the Christian lens. Well, like what about crises of faith if you're, a Holocaust survivor? What if you're a
right,
Holocaust survivor who, on top of being you're persecuted for being Jewish, you're a fucking mutant.
right.
Yeah, so that would be interesting. Um, I would, I did appreciate a little bit of the send off for Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Uh, I I do feel that it ran a little lukewarm for me, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But
Mm.
please continue with what you were reviewing, and then
Uh,
you can
yeah.
start anywhere. I'm sorry if I
No,
ruined your
no, no, you're
train
good.
of thought.
But no, it's um, it just I want to see more of X-Men because that's been my thing, right? I want to see the
Mhm.
X-Men in the Marvel universe. So seeing him like there is awesome, but yeah, I think it's just giving the fans like me and other people like here's your chance to see Patrick Stewart, as
Mhm.
as Professor Xavier, but definitely if the X-Men are to come into the MCU, it's not going to be Patrick Stewart. Obviously because he's
Yeah.
definitely getting older. Um, and I think that's fine. I think they'll do fine job because looking at who has played the heroes of the MCU so far, or even villains, like I'm trying to think of someone they just didn't do a good job casting,
Mm, I would have to think about that.
right? Like
You
I'm not
trust me
saying
when I say watch that video,
yeah.
and this guy pulls what I appreciate about his picks is that none of these people are like immediate household names. Like they've been around, they've acted, they've been
Mhm.
in some recognizable stuff, but
Yeah.
like they don't they don't just fit the build, they also fit, I think, the performance.
Okay.
Because I've seen some of the actors and actresses that he's recommended, and they do provide a pretty good job. And
Mhm.
I think they could do the parts really well. I don't think any of them are going to get their parts, but it's so fascinating watching his method and watching him
Right.
kind of describe the characters and describe the performance and his rationale for like, oh, well, this part doesn't really matter about like what choice you make so long as like this stays because this is intrinsic to who he is or she
Right.
is or why they are the way they are.
Fair enough.
Fuck yeah.
I'll definitely look into, but yeah, like I think they'll do a fine job casting the next Professor Xavier. Obviously,
Mhm.
I think you are not a fan of the casting of
I don't
oh,
hate it. I just okay, two things. Like, I like John Krasinski. He's fine. Like, he's charming, but like, mm,
mhm,
I don't mean to be the contrarian. Like, oh, the internet wants him to be, you know, Fantastic Four because him and his wife fit the bill perfectly. But it's like they don't. They really don't. Like,
mhm.
I'll get into it later. I don't want to. I don't want to get into this like yuck yum thing. I really don't.
Okay.
We'll talk about this some other time next week. I'm fine with it. It's mainly because I don't care for his performance. Like it looks like he's constipated the whole time. And then on top of that, they brought in Patrick Stewart from Fox
Yeah.
to re to play his part again. But
Right.
they didn't get fucking Ian Grufford or
Mhm.
Gruffud to play the original 2005 Mr. Fantastic. Like that shit hurt. I don't like the fucking Fantastic Four movies particularly,
Yeah.
but I thought everyone. was almost perfectly cast. And Aon Grufford did a great fucking job as Mr. Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, great fucking job. And I would have loved to have seen him get that send off. I would have loved if they asked him to come back.
Right.
You know what? I'm sure they did. And I'm sure that like maybe the guy probably didn't want anything to do with it. But like
Right.
I just wouldn't have put him in the first place. I would have done like I would have done someone else.
Okay.
Like comic book character wise. I would have done the Human Torch. That's what I would have done.
Hmm.
No, maybe not, because the powers are too similar with Captain America or Captain Marvel. I would have done someone else where it's not like a Sting, you know?
Right.
No, that wouldn't make sense because all of them would have been replaced. Oh man, now you got me fucking thinking. I don't know. I'm just being a fucking bitch. Anyway,
It's fine.
it's it's okay. Like I could, for me, I could tell like they wheeled fucking Patrick Stewart out of the fucking dusty closet and they paid him a bunch of money to like do a scene for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And what made the scene even better was not Patrick Stewart. It was like the nostalgia that they fucking draped him in, right? They
Mm.
did the original theme song. They did all of the typical hand gestures that he does in the comics and the cartoons that he didn't do in the movies. They did the what is it? The concentric rings that symbolized like his telepathy. Like
Yeah.
that was the thing that got, I think, everyone, like, erect. It wasn't necessarily Patrick Stewart, because if you'd stripped all that away, I would imagine the scene feels more like he's just collecting a paycheck, and I'm
Right.
not saying that he just went in there soullessly and was like, "Give me the money," and just, like, put on a happy face, but it's clear that that's what he was used for.
Right.
Like, "We'll pay you, we'll give you, like, a couple minutes, you're gonna generate, like, some asses in seats,"
Yep.
and that was it. And I'm not trying to shout at the bubble. Like it's fun seeing him in this part. It's clear that he's not meant to be there for long because his ass gets fucking murked really
Yeah.
gruesomely, like them all. But like the nostalgia, I think for me, as much as I love it, that is the most pointed example of how like nostalgia manipulates people.
Yes.
Because I turned to you and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Na-na-na-na-na," because
Yes.
that was literally what they did. Every single one of these fucking X-Men movies does some like orchestra, like highfalutin jackass version of that theme,
Yeah.
and it never did the theme. It was never "Na, na, 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 na," like, but they did it. They did it in
Yeah.
this, and it makes, you know, him being in the movie for like less than 3 minutes palatable, and it,
Mm.
all the other shit that goes along, like that was in the cartoons, right?
Right. Right.
um okay, keep going. Just because I was unhappy with Krasinski, like Krasinski isn't terrible, but just he's not my view of what Mr. Fantastic would be. If I had
Fair enough.
my way and you got like another A-lister or B-lister, you would get Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. Who's Patrick Wilson?
He is the guy from the Insidious movies. He's Night Owl in
Okay.
Watchmen.
Yes. Yes.
He's
Yes.
Ocean Master in Aquaman.
I never saw the original Aquaman, so
No, 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 the new ones with Jason Momoa.
I, I never. I've only seen Justice League.
Oh my god, oh.
What?
Yeah, he's Night Owl. But like
He's
he
yeah. Yeah.
Patrick Wilson is a very capable actor. He's charming. He has like an awkwardness to him too,
Mm-hmm.
despite like the handsomeness when he wants to be.
Yeah.
Like I could see it. But that being said, that's just my like
Yeah. No. I.
that's
You know.
with me with all my resources pick. There we go.
Right. Okay. But yeah, I think just more X-Men, but Doctor Strange overall was really good. Yeah, I think it just opens up the whole like yeah, I think for me it's like I want X-Men like obviously this is past fucking Doctor Strange. I want X-Men in the universe, right? That's all I want.
Yeah,
And it's like they gave us a taste of it, but I want the full course, right? Like
yeah,
I'm done with fucking little tastes. Like give me what I
yeah.
want, you know?
They've been doing this thing, I think, lately where they've been not explaining, but just kind of laying the groundwork, like in the background. Oh, there's this person with random powers, and it's just like, let's just accept that that's part of the universe. So I feel like they're trying to make the universe, I think, a little more prepared for like fucking people with random powers, right? They're not
Right.
talking about like mutations yet or anything, but like, you had something in Shang-Chi, you've got the fucking bull dude in Kamartaj, you've got a couple other
Yeah.
things across like a couple other movies. Um the multiverse, I think, despite my protestations, I think they're doing fine with it. I mean, it's fine. They're opening it up in a way that I think makes some sense, or at least can be marketable, I suppose. So yeah,
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, we'll see. Again, I give this movie I feel like I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
nice.
Um, yeah, definitely 9.5. I just not giving it the full 10 because it's not like it's up there. It's really fucking good, but it's not like I need to give it another watch, right? I just need to give it another full watch so I
Hmm.
can figure out if it's really like up there, right? I
Worth it.
just
Yeah.
yeah, really worth the full 10. Like I definitely did like it. Same thing with the music. I told you like after the movie I was like
Yeah.
didn't know it was fucking
Danny
Tim Burton's
fucking
homie, yeah.
Elfman.
So
He
that
really
was
came
fucking
in with
killer.
like a zinger. Like nowadays, it's like what I'm listening to in the MCU is just like background sounds, but like this
Yeah.
actually, like one or two parts definitely like perked my ears.
I mean,
Like that's one or two more parts than an average MCU movie.
yeah. Like I think the whole literal music fight in the middle like
Oh yeah.
I was
Oh
like,
god, I
"Huh, this that was
love
interesting."
that
Like
part.
yeah, it kind of made sense to me. But yeah, that was fucking killer, dude. So yeah, I think they did a great job. Um, man, yeah. Yeah. I think that's it for me. I said what I had to say. You got
You
anything
ready,
else?
Harry?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
I think most of this movie was a misstep.
Ooh, go on.
I um I took issue with them making Wanda a villain, like
Okay.
right after WandaVision. Like I get it. Oh, she's got the dark hold, it's corrupted her. I hate that shit.
Okay. Okay.
Uh Melina Pendulum, who is a writer for the Mary Sue and a pretty avid comic book fan. I I I really enjoy her insight. She talks about the development of the Scarlet Witch and Wanda and how a huge fucking amount of content that she's in entails her essentially being like a mind damsel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where she's like the most powerful mutant in the fucking universe, and she's just mind controlled, and she does all this horrible fucking shit, and they just keep doing that to her.
Mm.
And I'm not saying this solely because it's Wanda, but hearing that makes it worse. I hate when a character like Wanda, like what they did with Dark Phoenix, I
Okay.
hate when a character they make a big deal about characters getting like all this power and becoming so destructive. And it's like this big moral question as to like, oh, she's in there and like, oh, she's so conflicted when it's like, no, she's not conflicted. Like she doesn't have any autonomy. I don't mean a female character. I just mean anyone when
Yeah.
they're mind controlled to do something and they like make this big like thing out of it, right? Like
Right.
Wanda can't just do this shit because she wants to. She can't like she can't be someone who is driven to the edge and makes hard decisions and she loses bits and pieces of herself because she wants what she'll never be able to have, right?
Right.
No.
Mhm.
She's a psychopath who tortures and kills people, and the explanation for that is that she's under mind control. And it's the biggest fucking letdown. I fucking despise that.
Mm.
Um I think it's lazy. I think it's a cheap way of getting your characters out of predicaments.
Okay.
Um you were talking about X-Men, and I couldn't help but feel that Wanda should have been only part of this movie. She should not have been the main antagonist. And I feel like this movie should have led into the movie that we just watched.
Mm.
And that movie should have introduced the X-Men to team up with the Avengers to take her down. Because Wanda doing all this shit is not a one movie thing. It should
Right.
not have been a movie thing. It absolutely should not have been. Her like, "Oh, I accidentally, imprisoned a bunch of people, and, I was fine with it for a little bit because it made me happy, but I ultimately decided not to because it was the right thing to do." And then less than a year later, murdering people. Hold on, hold on. Let's get to that scene that we both like. She disappears a guy's mouth and explodes his brain, and then just before that asks if someone has kids and a wife, and when they say yes, she literally dead eye looks him in the face and says, "Good, they'll have someone to look after them when you're gone," and then turns him into screaming spaghetti.
Mhm.
Like, that is such tonal fucking whiplash. That's like fucking George Washington in the fucking founding myth. Ah, yes, I chopped down the cherry tree. Oh, well, you did something bad, but you learn your lesson. And then fucking 2 days later, he just axes his parents to death.
Right.
Whoopsie! Like, I hate that. I, I can't. I really can't. Um, I would have been under the impression that this is my pitch, real quick, real
Yeah.
if I can, because everyone was making theories, including us, about like Nightmare, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That like dream demon or
Yeah.
whatever. I would have loved if Doctor Strange is chasing this guy across the multiverse. You can say he wants America Chavez for whatever reason. I don't give a shit. Just change it up. And then you find out the real villain is Doctor Strange. You replace fucking Wanda entirely as the villain, and it's Doctor Strange. It's that version of Doctor Strange who's been killing other Doctor Stranges. Say like the fewer Doctor Stranges or the fewer iterations there are of a person, the stronger. Say it's like number one with Jet or the one with Jet Li,
Yeah.
right? You remember that fucking movie where
Mhm.
Jet Li is going across the fucking multiverse killing shitloads of Jet Lis to make
Yep.
himself more fucking powerful? Do that. Fucking do the shit out of that. Where it's like Doctor Strange is using Nightmare to help him like travel across the multiverse into people's dreams or into people's minds and fucking kill them and shit. And Doctor Strange is investigating Nightmare and fucking goes into the Illuminati. He's like, "Oh shit, you're a problem because Doctor Strange's have a tendency to do this." He's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, don't you know? The guy who's doing this is Doctor Strange." "Oh no." And then you literally have a scene where Doctor Strange has to come face to face with everything that he doesn't want to be,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
Like the whole point of Doctor Strange in the first movie is giving up his ego or giving up the things that he wants to save the world.
Right.
He loses the woman he loves because of it. He loses his well, he doesn't lose being a doctor. He already fucking lost it. But he essentially gives all that up. And then you hit him with the fucking big guns. You show him a Doctor Strange in a world where he has everything. He has power,
Right.
he has Christine, or whatever. You make it so that the evil Doctor Strange, or the Doctor Strange that's pursuing power, or whatever, you can make him sympathetic for all I care, has all that. So you transplant the thing that the conflict that Wanda has, right? She doesn't have kids. She wants a universe where uh she's with her kids. You put that on evil Doctor Strange. He has everything that he could possibly want, and Doctor Strange in the beginning, like he says to fucking Christine, is that he isn't happy.
Right.
How fucking awesome would that be if like he still has nothing, but he still chooses to do that because that's who he is, and he goes against his evil fucking version who is the exact opposite as him, but at the same time still the same version.
Mhm.
And then check this fucking shit out. Instead of Doctor Strange using the Darkhold, you can still do the Deadite bullshit that he did in the movie. I don't fucking care. Find a way.
Yeah.
But like uh Strange is fighting Strange and Evil Strange is beating Doctor Strange the same way that the What If Strange did
Yeah.
with that version. Except Wanda voluntarily chooses to use the Darkhold to amplify her powers,
Right.
and that is what sets her on a path. And I'm not saying, "Oh, it's controlling her." I'm saying it's giving her the power to do what she wants. Because at this point in my story, Wanda's just the same fucking Wanda. She can, like, manipulate the world, but it's not real, right?
Right.
At the end of this, their fucking end credit scene is essentially the ending of WandaVision, where she keeps hearing her kids and she
Mm.
realizes she has the power to do it,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like that
Okay.
is my multiverse of madness, because there's already a theory that Dormammu is Doctor Strange. He's like a version of Doctor Strange that just kept like gaining more power and lost himself, right? And he's
Mhm.
even voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch too. So I kind of like the idea of Strange literally having to grapple with himself on a constant basis, not
Yeah.
just his own internal struggle, but like other incarnations of who he is, who he could have been. That is what I like. That is what I wanted to see. Because like just it's so disappointing, at least for me, that like they
Yeah.
took a character who had some dimension to her and they turned her into a fucking monster, and then like of course in the last 5 minutes she just decides to kill herself. She literally just decides to kill herself. Like
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
I'm not trying to I'm really not trying to yum yak. I just
no, I
it,
completely
it was
understand.
frustrating. It was really
Yeah.
frustrating that like they want to they're mm, watch watch Melinda Pendulum. Just watch her thing. It's really good. She goes over some stuff about her, which is really enjoyable. Hold on. Okay. Continuity error
Hmm?
in Spider-Man No Way Home,
Yeah.
or Far From Home. Far From, the second one.
Yep.
The the story behind uh Mysterio, right? His fake story is that he's from Earth 616. And
Oh.
that's made up. And Christine is literally talking to America Chavez and Strange and classifies the universe that they're from, our MCU version, as 616. So they introduced a joke version of the multiverse in Spider-Man Far From Home, and then we're like, "Oh no, that's actually real in this movie."
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't care. I thought it was funny, but like,
Yeah.
I thought it was
And
trivia. Okay. I got what I wanted out of the way and my disappointments with Wanda out of the way. That being said, the character of Wanda Maximoff has always been compelling because of Elizabeth Olsen.
yes.
There are lines that I don't think belong in any way, shape, or form in this movie. In keeping with the kind of movie that I told you that I wanted to see.
Yes.
Um, that Elizabeth Olsen deftly navigates, if I can use big boy words, that she is able to turn into like gold. She transforms the water that are some of these lines into fucking wine. She's so good. She's so there's a um since we're talking about physicality with Pedro Pascal,
Mhm.
she has a physical intimidating presence that I was not expecting that was really good. Um
Okay.
I was impressed. I was actually really impressed with her performance. I'm always impressed with her as Wanda Maximoff. Benedict Cumberbatch is good. I think he gets to shine a little bit more when we see other incarnations of him too.
Yeah.
Uh, we get to see uh, uh, a utilitarian Doctor Strange in the beginning
Mhm.
who calculates like, oh, one life versus billions or trillions. We get to see the Strange briefly from the Illuminati universe who voluntarily relinquishes his own life because he sees that he's getting too powerful. We see the one from the ruined universe who has a very Gollum-like quality to him, right?
Yeah.
And this is range that I think Benedict Cumberbatch gets the chance to like show off,
Right.
which was really enjoyable. Um, I'm not gonna lie, in every other fucking universe, Doctor Strange has like a better head of hair and a better face of hair
Yeah.
because it's not necessarily the costume problem that I was talking about like a year ago.
Mhm.
It's his like shit awful beard in this movie and his hair.
Uh-huh.
In the first 5 minutes, Defender Strange
Yeah.
has a full beard, and it's like it's clear that it's his natural beard. It's a tad patchy, but it looks so much better than that glued on, drowned fucking rat on his face throughout the rest of the whole movie.
Mhm.
Um, his like weird pompadour with like perfect streaks on his side are not good in my opinion. I don't know. It just the closer you get to his face, the just less good it looks.
Okay.
And if I can actually nitpick, I think it's there's nothing wrong with like his face or like the design necessarily. It's like how awful it just looks on camera
Okay.
that I don't care for. Anyway, besides the point, Benedict Cumberbatch gets the chance to shine. Um, oh God, Harry.
Yeah. Bless you. Ay, salud.
Oh,
Sí,
como
pues.
pues.
Yeah.
The demons are gone. Um, yeah, solid performance on his part. Rachel McAdams, they did not give her much to do.
Mhm.
She's really there to be like the sidekick, and she does a really good job with what she has. But like, I would have really liked to have seen her do more active like stuff, at least for
Right.
me. Let's see. I'm gonna get to America Chavez. I don't know much about the character. I just know that she's not a fucking 14-year-old. I don't understand why they kind of like they they kind of infantilized her a bit in the
Mm,
movie. In the comic books, her parents sacrificed their lives to save her and save their universe, but in this, as we joked about, she like has a panic attack because like she's afraid a bee is gonna sting her and just flings her parents into an alternate dimension where she can't find them. Like it, it's not. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. And they reduce the character to like nothing. Like there's no identifiable quality to this character. Uh, and she's apparently like kind of a bit of a firebrand. If I'm using that correctly in the movies or in the comic books. Like I'm sure if we get more screen time with her, she'll grow into this character. I just don't get like why she can't already be this kind of character. Why does she have to be the child like that needs to be protected by everyone? Like I, I'm not like big on oh male characters doing this and that, but like the infantilization in this and like the paternalism that they make Doctor Strange do just comes off as really overt and forced. Like, I don't have a problem with paternalism, I really don't. It's just like it's just cringy in this, at least to me.
mm,
I really don't understand why they like turned a character they like de-aged a character by a shitload, made them like really useless and needed a bunch of like Doctor Strange pep talks to like work. It just felt weird to me in like one of the few real instances, I guess.
yeah.
Um, oh god, I'm gonna fucking ruin his name. Uh, Chitwell AF4 comes back as Baron Mordo. He has a cameo, which I would have liked to have seen more of him. Apparently, there was a supposed to be an opening scene where the real MCU Mordo tries to assassinate Wanda, and she kills him. But apparently, they wanted to cut that scene to him, like to give you more of a surprise for when Wanda like shows that she's evil.
Yeah.
Uh,
Worked for me.
he's right. Yeah, exactly. Um, which is fine. I think that that works fine for me too. Um, I enjoy the actor a lot.
Hmm.
He's got a great voice. He's charming. He actually lays on a lot of really good menace too when he wants, and I felt he was a little underutilized in this movie.
Okay.
Uh, so let me everything at the moment I would put it like if we're grading just MCU movies, I would probably grade this movie at like a just on this, just
Hmm.
on this alone, what
Right.
I've been talking about, I'd probably put it like a 6 something, like an average
Yeah.
thing. But the material and hold on, when I say all the shit that I have said so far, um, everything in terms of what I've been mentioning with Wanda, I think works to some degree with
Hmm.
Sam Raimi.
Okay.
So I remember walking out of theater and saying, I don't think this is anywhere near Sam Raimi's best work. I don't
Yes.
even think it's like a particularly great bit of Sam Raimi's work, but it's clear that Sam Raimi on an average day elevated, I think, a particularly average MCU movie to like above average.
Yeah.
Um, it's clear that like he imbues the movie with a sense of horror and absurdity that I don't see quite as much with other movies. Even Taika Waititi, who does um, Thor Ragnarok and who's going to do Thor Love and Thunder, I still see getting a little drowned out by like the MCU model. It was
Yeah.
so refreshing seeing camera work and music and just seeing design choices that were clearly Sam Raimi's decision. Like
Yeah.
clearly. Um I think it was pretty obvious that like him and his team were responsible for I think diversifying Strange's magic, right?
Mhm.
So in the first one and Endgame or Doctor Strange, Endgame, no, Doctor Strange, Infinity War, and Endgame, it's pretty clear that like their magic was kind of like what Full Metal Alchemist kind of looks like. You know, you put a couple
Mhm.
symbols in, lights and magic show.
Yeah.
Where this was like, he's summoning like weird demon arms to grab shit. He's like flinging musical notes and like
Yeah.
he's like there's so much variety to the magic that like it not only makes what he's doing more interesting, it also kind of like tells a bit of a story in and of itself. Like, oh, what the fuck are these demon arms that like he's like levitating to grab shit? Like, where the fuck are these coming from? Or like, what are these monsters that he's like summoning to like harass Wanda? Right? Like,
Yeah.
that shit's so cool. Like, where's this shit coming from? Like, I don't normally like when I watch a movie, I'm like one to one. I'm like, I accept everything that happens. I don't necessarily ask a question unless it's like regarding like the logic of the movie itself, right? But I
Mhm.
was like, oh shit, that's kind of a cool effect. Like, where are those arms from? Or like, I keep bringing up the arms; they're really fucking cool. Or like, how does this magic work? Or like, where does that come from? Like, there was a variety to the magic that I didn't think I would enjoy or even expect after seeing the first couple of Doctor Strange related stuff, where it's literally just like sparky magic lines. And I really get the impression that that was Sam Raimi and his team. Like, hey, let's make the magic a little weirder.
Yeah.
And it felt less like, oh, we have a full knowledge of all the magic on all over the place, and more like, oh, we're pulling from different kinds of magic in different realms and different like whatever, you get the idea.
Yes.
Um the horror elements are actually really fun. If you can even call them that really. It's like I was saying before, it's like a Evil Dead movie, but for kids,
Yeah.
honestly. Evil Dead, let's be honest, is not that scary. Like it's
No.
a little creepy because of like some of the deadite costumes and like some of the unnerving shit, like the laughing fucking taxidermy deer head or
Mhm.
the fucking radio. But like Fede Alvarez made the latest Evil Dead movie fucking frightening.
Yes.
Sam Raimi loves like absurdist horror, right?
Mhm.
Where it's less frightening and more like comedically unnerving.
Yeah.
So it's pretty enjoyable to see, despite what I was saying about Wanda, it's pretty enjoyable to see a lot of these like elements in this movie where Wanda is kind of like this very intimidating force. Like
Yeah.
watching her absolutely just annihilate the Illuminati in the most gruesome way possible,
Mhm.
and then like trudging down this hallway limping and like contorting was actually really fucking enjoyable. Like none of
Yeah.
it was I think genuinely scary, but there was a creep factor that they
Yes.
tried to introduce that really stuck out, that really helped, in my opinion,
Mhm.
that really made the that really worked on a level that I would not have expected and gave the movie, I think, as a whole, a very distinct feel. Like again, a lot of the visual doesn't quite look different, but the camera work is so readily noticeable and some of the choices. Most of the camera work in a lot of these movies just feels plain. But like there's a moment when Doctor Strange is like going over the dark hold and he's like talking right before turning into Deadite Strange, where the camera's like focused on his face and the camera just moves up to his eyes. And it's like you don't see that. That's just camera work that you don't see.
Right.
in an MCU movie. Like just some stupid 2-point shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um this is the stuff that I mean that like Sam Raimi is obviously not making like the next Spider-Man 2, right? He'll never top that in my opinion. I don't think ever. Um or he's not remaking, you know, Evil Dead. He's never I personally don't think he'll ever get to that height either. But it's clear that like him on an day can elevate like any other like elevated this material by a significant margin.
Right.
Significant. Um this whole time I was thinking to myself, man, this movie would have been fucking great if he made it like right after Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that have been so fucking cool if he did one of these movies in like 2004, 2005, like on the onset of like the serious Batman era, serious comic stuff where
Mm-hmm.
everyone took themselves so crazy. And there's Spider-Man again too with Sam Raimi's distinct visual style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm fucking oh god. Yeah, hats off to him. Hats off to Sam Raimi for doing a solid job adding some uniqueness to this movie. Like I said, it's still an MC movie. It's still got a bit of the trappings. Uh, Still, for the most part, looks like an MC movie, but it feels different. And I think that's a very good step in the right direction. It feels distinct in a way that you know when everyone says, "Oh, this is one of the great ones, or this is one of the better ones," I think this is a step in the right direction in a genuine version of that, right? This is a step in
Right.
the right direction where a director has a little more creative freedom, just a little bit. Just I cannot stress the extra pinch of salt that they put on this steak, right?
Right.
So oh, and in my fucking version of Multiverse of Madness,
Mm-hmm.
fucking Jeffrey Combs is oh no. Oh, that would have been so good. Fucking Bruce Campbell has a cameo in this. Fucking oh man. What if Jeffrey Combs as Dr. Mordred and Bruce
Oh,
Campbell were Doctor Strange variants?
that would have been killer.
Oh, that would have been so good. So goddamn good. Oh, I would have loved it. You leave Bruce Campbell as he is. You just give him like the outfit. You
Yeah.
make it a little like sillier. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Doctor Strange. Yeah," and he's just like eating or something. Yeah, we don't get many of you guys in this universe. Yeah, how you doing, Toots? It's fucking him doing his usual shit, and then
Right.
you have
Right.
Jeffrey Combs being like the older. Oh god, I know I'm copying fucking. Now that I say it, I know I'm kind of copying Loki, but like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
ah, that one bit with fucking not Hugh Grant, Richard Grant, where
Yeah.
he plays the older Loki is so goddamn good.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. I don't fucking need you give him like a 2-second cameo. You don't need the dramatic death. I just fucking want Dr. Mordred in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's it.
that yeah would have been great.
But yeah, enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a particularly like great movie. I think it's one of the better MCU movies.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think it is a bit of a misstep, at least for me, with how the characters are going.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Charlize Theron's in the movie now. She's Clea Strange, the eventual wife of Doctor Strange, and
Oh,
a demon princess.
was not aware of that.
Yeah, now
Awesome.
you know.
Now I
Yeah,
fucking know.
the more you know.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
big guy.
All right. So we're at midnight.
We're at midnight.
We are at midnight.
How about we reserve any other reviews for next week?
I'm down for that. So we'll
Perfect. Okay.
save both Moon Knight and Picard.
Yeah. I'm gonna also jump into. I don't mean for it to be too heavy of a Star Trek thing, but I
That's
also
fine.
really want to go over the new show that came out too last week.
Okay.
2 episodes have already came out, and oh boy,
You have things to say?
I have. Oh, you have no idea. It's like it's like eating that white dog shit from Step Brothers,
uh
and then like washing that awful taste out of your mouth with like when you read about gods drinking mead.
mm,
It's like that.
fun.
Yeah. Folks, it's a crazy world out there. There's a Supreme Court that wants to overturn Roe v. Wade. Uh there's a bunch of laws fucking with Hispanics and Latin Americans who are trying to come into this country and live a normal fucking life. And there's legislation literally banning like 2 or 3 people in each state from competing in a fucking sport, because people are insecure about their own identities. Um, and, you know, Russia is in a Vietnam-esque, Afghanistan-esque situation with, Ukraine, and we can only hope that, Russia bloodies its fists broken, pummeling, Ukraine. So yeah, all the world is collapsing, but while it's collapsing, why
Mm-hmm.
don't you like Harry's Guy Named Harry YouTube channel? Uh, and you can also like and subscribe, hitting the mark with Harry and Mark. We provide wonderful content, maybe not life changing, maybe not informative,
mm-hmm.
maybe not even good, but by Job, we will continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the ways that you can view this content, whether good or transformative or impactful, who's to say, let the sands of time decide. Uh, you can hit us up at YouTube at Hitting the Mark with Harry and Mark. You can also hit us up on our YouTube. Oh, fuck. I almost had it. It was just a great bit and I ruined it. You can
Mm,
also hit us up on our email, hittingthemark2020 at gmail.com. We take any recommendations. If you want to come on and discuss stuff, fuck it. We'll even bring you on. I don't give a shit. I've got all the power. Harry,
yep.
make me sound like a psychopath with all the editing he does. And want to catch all of our up-to-date razor sharp content and opinions, you can hit us up at Twitter at capital H, capital T, capital M underscore podcast. One more time, HTM underscore podcast. If you're John Krasinski, please come on, let me interview you. Let me pick your brain as to why you're doing this part. Hopefully, it's a cameo and we'll let someone who's actually interested in the part have it. You be the deciding vote. Anyway, Harry,
Yes.
you have a wonderful evening. Audience, you too. We will see you next week.
Bye bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, Assholes.